Guys, special treat for the Alpha Empire today. I've got Mr. Wonderful himself, Kevin O'Leary. Say hey to everybody, Kevin.
Great to be here, Shark Tank alumnus.
Exactly. That's what you get. I got a cell phone, right? And I said, Kevin, I got some questions for the gentleman, and I really think that one of the things that we're starting to do on this channel is really kind of help you build your own personal empire. And so the first thing I noticed when Kevin walked up are these watches. You're wearing 2 watches. I love the presidential. What is that?
This is a very rare piece of Simon Briette. When you go online and look at it, it'll blow your mind. This is a very special watchmaker out of Geneva. He's only made 5 of these and sold 3. He's kept the rest in his vault.
How much is that? Can you say?
I can't say. It's a crazy price. But here's the thing. I don't borrow money to buy watches.
No?
Each watch is a result of something I've done successfully in business, and I want to market with a watch. And so I tell everybody that talks to me about watches, never borrow money to buy a watch. Buy a watch at the level you can afford. So you can start with an entry-level brand, a fantastic brand like a Tudor or a Grand Seiko or a Longines.
You know what? Hey, I did a video asking you before about what is the best $1,000 watch. You got ripped apart for saying Grand Seiko.
Oh, I love Grand Seiko.
Well, apparently the community, some in the community thought it was crazy.
Well, they don't have too many at 1,000. You can get a Longines at 1,000. You can look at Tudor as well, but those prices have creeped up to more like 2,500 now. Watches have all expanded in value. Here's the big problem everybody has with watches now. People think you can buy a watch and just put it on your home insurance package. That doesn't work for a wide range of reasons. One of them being watches go up in value, and insurance wants to look at your purchase price and depreciate it over time.
That's what happened with this. Right. I have it on my home.
Yeah.
No?
That's not
what
good.
should I do instead?
So I've tried to solve for myself, and I built a new business called Wondercare.com.
Okay.
And it lets you insure your watches for a day, a month, a week, whatever you want, by just taking a picture on your phone. And I partnered with Chubb, the big insurer worldwide, and we do it for every state in America.
Okay.
So for me, I only insure my watches that are out of the vault that week. I wear 6 watches a day, 2 in the morning, 2 at lunch, and 2 at night.
You got them on your ankles? What's
no,
going
not
on?
yet. But this is New York time. This is LA time. This is the new Rolex puzzle.
I am familiar, yes.
Very, very rare piece. But I want to insure them when I'm taking them out, and that's what I do. I use Wondercare.com. So check it out if you're a watch collector. This is a great new product.
All right, guys. I'll link to that down below if you guys are interested in checking it out. But in order to get these watches that are sexy and fun and to mark these monumental occasions, let's talk about how, your best tips, or I should say, how somebody can become a millionaire. Yeah. What would you say is your #1 tip for somebody in terms of how to become a millionaire?
So if you never work for somebody else, or you do work for somebody else, or you're going to just have an average career where you're making the average salary in America, $62,000.
Is that what it is?
That's what it is. If you can do this, save 15% of your salary every single week and put it into the stock market through an ETF or something, just an exposure to the broad S&P 500, by the time you're 65, you'll have $1.5 million in the bank.
Okay.
And the markets go up and down like crazy, but you have to invest in the long term. That's not the entrepreneurial way. That's the safe way of doing it. The challenge we all have in America today is we buy too much crap that we don't need. There's so much stuff in your closet. I don't care who you are. If I go to your house or your apartment or your condo, I'm going to find crap in there.
100%.
So you just don't need all that crap. Don't buy that crap. And don't buy a lot of crap that for food even. You know, if you're paying $5.50 for a coffee twice a day.
That's one little expense, though. Come on.
You add that up over a couple of months.
Kevin.
Listen, I'm cheap and I'm smart, okay? That's how that works.
In what order?
Well, both. At either direction, okay?
Okay.
I look at it and say to myself, you're asking me how to get to be a millionaire?
Yeah.
This is the only way you can do it. Unless you want to be an entrepreneur like you, take a lot of risk, work 25 hours a day, 8 days a week. That's what it takes. And it takes a long time, and very often the first deal isn't the one that works. You got to try, and you've had a few failures.
Oh, my God. I counted the other day. 19 different businesses I've had.
Yeah, so you only need one
crazy.
to work, and then you're set. But my point is, if you really want to work on it, and I do this myself, I buy good stuff that I know is going to go up in value, including my watch collection. I don't waste it on crappy stuff. My mother taught me that. She used to buy maybe only 1 or 2 suits a year. Chanel, that's all she liked. And when she passed away, all the women in our family had a cat fight for her stuff because vintage Chanel's worth a lot more than what she bought it for decades ago.
All right, so Tip number one is invest 15% of your income. If you're going to be and have a salary, that is a way to actually do it. Number two,
By the way, you don't need to be sophisticated. You can download one of these apps, the one I use, beanstocks.com. That's one I helped design. That thing lets you even put in money into U.S. Treasuries and get 4 to 5% yield on your cash.
Stop buying shit you don't need.
Right.
Credit cards. Talk about them. What do you think? What do you think, Kevin? Because I think you and I are kind of on a similar wavelength with this.
Credit cards will kill you because interest rates are 21 to 23%.
Ooh.
You can have a credit card, and I recommend you do, but you always pay off the balance each month. And the reason you do that is to enhance your credit rating for the day you want to buy a home. And so the idea with a credit card is get one. This is a hack that I've done over the last 2 years. Get one card for online purchases and put a limit of $2,500 on it. You can't spend more than that. So if you get hacked, nobody can take you out.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Right? Then number two, get a credit card you never put online that you use for your business expenses or whatever you're doing, or personal expenses, but you pay these balances off every single month. So you really, really, really care as you're spending, do I have enough to pay this balance off? That way your credit rating's going up and you're not paying crazy interest. Now there's all kinds of credit cards. For example, if you don't own a home, there's a new one in the market, and I know because I'm a shareholder in it, called Built.
We've promoted 18 of Kevin's businesses.
Of course you are. What do you think I am? BILT, and you can get points on your rent.
All right. So here's the next question. You spoke about rent, real estate. How do you feel about real estate investing as a general sort of place to stick your cash? Because that's one of the things. Like for me, I invest because, I invest in the stock market and I've got a defined benefits plan and all that good stuff. But the extra cash, what really I love is real estate because it's something tangible and I just feel like I understand it. The problem is that a lot of I pay cash for pretty much everything. One of the problems though, there's a lot of platforms out there that are teaching people to borrow the bank's money, to use, your capital for a down payment, but then, refinance it and get apartments and use the bank's money and you're keeping the delta. The problem is it doesn't work right now. That whole model doesn't work because
I'm not a big
rates.
fan of debt. First, let's talk about real estate. There's an old concept in investing that's been around forever called diversification. And the basic rule for the stock market is no more than 5% in any one stock, no more than 20% in any one sector. Technology is a sector, energy is a sector. We have 11 of them, including real estate in the S&P 500. Now, the only time I ever broke that rule was on real estate. A third of my net worth is in real estate. It should be only 20%, but it's 33%.
Is it personal houses or is it investment properties? What is the breakdown?
Right now, I've owned everything from climate-controlled storage to commercial real estate to office space. Right now, it's all single-family dwellings because I can get rent for them. And right now, I'm a little concerned about what's going on in the commercial real estate market if I have to rent to somebody else and people aren't coming back to the office. So a third of it now is in homes and condos. But I move around, but real estate is rock solid because I don't use debt, as you just mentioned. If I can't afford it and I can't buy it with cash, I don't buy it. Now, some people say, oh, no, you got to take out loans, but I don't like taking out loans when rates are going up because the only way you can get wiped out in life, or one of the big ways, is debt.
Explain that to everybody.
Yeah, because you lever yourself up, you feel everything's going to go great, then you lose your job. Or then something changes in the economy, or rates go up, or the bank calls you up saying we're going to have to pull your loan. And all of a sudden, you're screwed.
You're fucked.
Yeah, it's the worst. And I don't like that feeling, so I go to bed every night saying, I didn't buy anything today I can't afford, even when I get a watch. I go home with these watches, and my wife says, what are you, out of your mind? I'm going to get you a psychiatrist. You got so many watches. Why do you need another watch? And I said,
it's an addiction.
I said, honey, listen, it's a disease, it's a virus, but I really like it. And so my point is I can afford to do this because I celebrate successes in business with watches. And by the way, my watch portfolio has beaten the S&P over the last 7 years. Some of the watches I bought for like $1,500 are worth $300,000 now.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's happened because the whole world is buying watches. But at the same time, it's about affordability and no leverage. We both agree on that. Do not put yourself in debt. Don't make the assumption that you can run up debt on a credit card. Don't borrow money from banks just because they want to lend it to you. They make the money when that happens, not you. You take a lot of risk. That's the challenge. And don't buy things you can't afford. And save 15% of your salary and put it into something very simple, like an exchange-traded fund or the treasury market. You can make about 4.8% right now. And that's what I do. And then any of these apps, the one I just talked about was Beanstocks, Benstox. Try it. Download it. Check it out.
Last question before we hit that next video topic. And guys, for those of you who have been watching and you like this video, the next video is actually going to be all about the best side hustles and basically entrepreneurship. So here's the question. Somebody is a teenager. All right, okay, so I got a few questions. All right, number one, what do you feel about college? And a lot of guys are asking me, oh, I don't know that I should go to college, I should do this. What is your opinion of that?
I think if you're willing to go to college and you're willing to borrow to go to college, you better pick a discipline that you can get a job in. It used to be only engineering, but because of social media today, artists, videographers, photographers, copywriters are all getting paid well, and so the arts have all of a sudden become more valuable.
Absolutely.
But you've got to really think this through, saying, okay, I'm going to be borrowing $20,000 a year or maybe more, and I got to pay it back, so it has to be with the eye on getting a job. The great thing about college is not what they teach you necessarily, it's the people you meet. They're going to become a resource network for you for the rest of your life. And I'm an advocate for college. I really am, but you've got to think it through, because coming out of college 60 to 80,000 in debt really sucks if you don't have a plan to get a job.
Absolutely. So the next question then. Somebody's young, somebody's 21, 22 years old, wants to be an entrepreneur. What is something that they can do in terms of kind of finding that niche or what they're actually interested or passionate about?
Solve a problem.
Rich people's problem.
Any problem that people have that they're willing to pay to solve. And you can just watch the people around you and say, would you buy this from me if I could solve this problem for you? And then make sure that when you're testing the idea out, it's not your family, because everybody wants to help you out in your startup. Make it an arm's length person and prove to yourself that you can acquire that customer. There's no barriers to entry anymore because of social media.
Correct.
You can come up with a great idea, buy a URL and start just promoting a product or service, and then go through all the iterations of what it takes to make it work. It's worth trying, though. Entrepreneurship's a wonderful journey, even though it comes with a lot of bumps in the road.
It does. And the first thing you try may not be, and probably won't be, the answer. And I like to say that sometimes success doesn't look like what you hope or what you expect. You've just got to keep your eye open and look for the opportunities and get back up. That's the only way you fail, is by not trying again. Kevin, you're a rock star. Even though you passed on Pete and Pedro, the empire that is behind you.
Boy, I'm so lucky I missed that.
That $100,000 would have been worth $4 million, Kevin.
It's worth something now, but it wasn't worth anything then.
It was worth something.
And listen, accolades to you. Aaron, think
Thanks,
about
man.
it. You put the hard work into it and you made it worth something, and now it is worth something. But not every Shark Tank deal gets funded, and that doesn't mean you can't be successful. He's living proof. And the only reason I came back here when he called me is I remembered who he was on Shark Tank.
That's not true.
Well, it is kind of true.
He has no idea who he was.
I'm not just going to go, to
some random dude. Hey,
yeah,
Kevin,
wait, who
come
is
on.
this guy? But I remembered you, and we've also, stayed in touch over the years.
Well, it's been a pleasure, Kevin. Congratulations on all your success, guys. We're going to link to everything, all 18 companies that Kevin referenced down below.
Always be selling. Always be selling.
ABS. Gentlemen, hit the link down below. Check out Kevin O'Leary. You're a rock star.
Thank you, man.
Boom.